Hey fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the Grayscale Trust max profit targets. So with that being said, let's get it. All right, so I did want to show you guys this real quick before we actually get into the content. So there is a big fat red candle on the Bitcoin dominance pulling back out of this wedge. I actually kind of thought this was going to break out, but it looks like it is not an upper, almost said uppercut. It looks like it's basically an overcut. Okay, so an overcut would be the bull version of the undercut. It's meant to trap people, essentially, is what it is. So, yeah, this could be marking potentially the beginning of I shouldn't say the alt season, but some kind of alt season. Again, Ethereum is also kind of exploding in value. I mean, on the 1 week candle, this thing is up $800 a token. Yeah, roughly about $800 a token. So, anyways, going over to LTCN, I want to give you guys the measurements on these. I have to excuse the drilling next door. It sounds like maintenance is next door again. Okay, so we're looking at 85, 133, 185, and about 215 respectively. That's on the local level. Now, kind of my thesis on this is basically that when we get the alt season that starts happening, a lot of these trusts that are altcoin related are likely going to go up in value. That's if there's a correlation between the Grayscale trusts and the native crypto space. It appears that in some cases there is not correlations, so we'll just have to wait and see on this one. Okay, so 870, 1450, 1980, and roughly about 2330 respectively. So you could be looking at easily 100x on this. Okay, BCHG, next one here. Looking at BCHG, we got roughly about 36, 56, 78, and roughly about 87 respectively. And again, I know everybody's worried about the drops in the price, but I mean, again, if you're looking to position for the bull run, this is exactly what you want, right? If you have doubts about the Grayscale space, which based on the previous bull runs, I wouldn't doubt if these things did actually go up significantly in value. There is other alternatives out there. There's crypto stocks, there is native crypto, there's Bitcoin miners, spot Bitcoin ETFs. I mean, you have, pick your flavor, right? So 110, 170, roughly about 235, and I'd say roughly about 285, 290 on this one. So, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much sky's the limit on this one. It's crazy how much this could go up 30, 40x. HSEN. So, nice little bull flag here, or descending channel, whatever, which is actually a bullish pattern either way. So, 16, 24, 32, and 38 respectively. A lot of these altcoin related trusts actually did not come out until the end of the previous bull run. So October 2021 was actually roughly about a month before Bitcoin and the space went into a bear market. So it's possible that we don't actually even really know what the true all-time high for these ones could be. So 48, 78, 121, and 134 respectively. Or I should say what they could have been respectively in the last cycle. Okay, so ETCG, looks like we got a little small one here. So this resistance, you guys can see it lines up with the 2.618, 3.618. That does actually happen often. The Fibonacci's is meant to kind of target certain levels that are not obvious on the charts, but they do often line up with other kinds of indicators and levels. So 28, 39, 51, and 61 respectively. And then you have, it looks like roughly about 145, 225, 325, and probably about $400 on this one. So easy 40x. Or, well, I mean, if I'm being conservative, it might actually be a 10 to 20x. But, if you put $1,000 in it, you make a 20x on your money. I don't think anybody's going to be upset about making a 20x on $1,000, right? Or even 500. Okay, so ETH here. Let's see, 48, 66, 80, and 95 respectively. And the big one here is going to be 71, 116, 155, 195. I had a question about about from somebody. Sorry if I can't remember your name, about the Anunnaki and Leviathan and all that stuff. I actually will go ahead and give you guys an update on that later. I mean, Trump won, so that's really all that matters. It's well, let's just put it like this: extreme times call for extreme measures, right? So I don't want to say too much in this video, but I will give you guys an update later and kind of, I've been hearing some stuff about women freaking out because they think their abortion rights are going to be taken away. I want to remind you guys that in 2016, Trump did delegate the authority of that to the states. I mean, you guys got to remember, Trump has a wife and daughters and stuff like that, so he understands these issues. He's not just going to be like, oh, yeah, we're going to take away your abortion rights. It's more complicated than that, but I don't want to get into that in this video. So, okay, so GBAT 50, 77, 30, 113, and roughly about 125 respectively. PhilG, FILG. Okay, so this one here, I'm just going to do a single on this one. I'm aware that there is lower highs here, but again, we kind of form this on the basis that if we do a double, that's because the trust we're looking at has not hit all-time highs this cycle. Okay, so 660, 1030, 1530, and roughly about, I'd say about 1750 on that one. GLIV. So we got 120, looks like 200, 260, and 290, 295, 300, somewhere in there. So nice clean 20, 30x probably. Okay, next one here on the list, G-Link. And again, I'm just giving you guys the macros on these, but you guys know how we do these. If they hit the all-time highs this cycle, we get 1 retracement. If they hit the all-time highs last cycle, then we get 2, okay? So 330, 535, 700, and 820 respectively. So maybe like a 15-20x. And again, I don't know when these are going to pop off. I have no idea. Okay, just showing you guys what's on the charts. I will say that these huge dumps that we saw, this could just be a final shakeout before the eventual rip. The crypto markets are notorious for doing this. They love to trap people at those all-time highs, like I told you, retail FOMOing in at the top and then dump on top of their heads. And I mean, this GSOL one, this is kind of a freak accident, in my opinion. But I mean, look, this thing just went from basically overbought to going sideways to pretty much oversold on the RSI. In my opinion, I think people are probably going to step in at some point here soon and start buying it. That's just my opinion. So 875, 1370, 18, 2150. Because like I told you guys before, there is literally people that will just sit on cash, do nothing, and wait for the price to get the most opportune buying opportunity. I mean, some of these people will wait weeks or months or years in Warren Buffett's case and do absolutely nothing but sit on cash. And then as soon as the opportunity hits, boom, they load the boat. Okay. That's what's known as position trading. All right. So GXLM here, we're going to get a double on this one. So roughly about 100, 160, 217, 254. A good example of when people could have been position trading would have been in August, when, again, the retail traders in the space were absolutely paper handing their positions and freaking the hell out and dumping all their shares at a loss, probably. And then Wall Street stepped in at the lows after the NASDAQ dropped like 15% and said, yeah, we'll take that. And then they bought it up, and then, the markets basically just skyrocketed back to new highs. So that would be a good example of people waiting on the sidelines to position trade. Okay, so 155, 250, or 245 in this case, 350, 400. So potentially, I'd say at least maybe a 10 to 15x on this one could definitely be happening here. All right, next one on the list, Mana. So 115, 180, 245, and 300. respectively. So, I mean, how many times can 750 go into 300? At least 30, right? So maybe like a 15 to 20x here. Yeah, I don't really like that red candle. That's pretty bearish looking. That's it's not called a dragonfly candle. I forget what this is called, but it was basically like the bearish version of a dragonfly candle. Those of you guys that trade, you know what I'm talking about here. So, I mean, it doesn't look great, but again, if we're heading into an all season, this could easily reverse to the upside. So 15, 22, 30, and 35 respectively. And just so you guys know, the alts can go up with Bitcoin as Bitcoin goes to new all-time highs, but when they start exploding is when the Bitcoin dominance drops off a cliff. And again, we probably won't know that's actually happening until we get out of that falling wedge. So it may take a few weeks to actually really be able to see if that's actually happening or not. So 65, 105, 142, and 180 respectively. Last thing I do want to say is about CLSK, CleanSpark. I mean, I did actually go over that in a previous video, so I don't really know what's going on here. I did not. Had something to do with something with their business. They said they're working on it supposedly, but it's there was no definitive timeline that was given as to when the halt on the stock price is going to cease and it will come back onto the markets. But what I will tell you guys is this. It's not going to be too good for the company if they take forever and a day to unhalt their positions. It's going to look really bad. A lot of people are going to want to dump their shares. Not so great for the valuation of the company, especially if Trump is going to be the Bitcoin president, right? It looks bad for business when you do stuff like this, and it kind of drags out and drags out and drags out. It's really not good. Okay, people want to boycott CleanSpark and Robinhood, and I'm pretty sure they don't want that. So again, if you're in the business space, you want to be pro-business. You want the people that are trading this particular stock in this case to actually keep trading it because it could potentially increase the valuation of the company, which is what companies want, right? So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.